I can't wait to get back on the road again. Back again. Dude, like for the baggers.
Back home again.
Back home again.
In
Indiana land.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Dirtyard Dish. I'm your host here, Will Smithey, and today I have a special guest with me, Cade Luker from our CCW League.
Hey, how's it going?
Doing good so far. For people who don't know Cade, Cade's been CCW for 4 years now, I believe, with 4 different teams. Went from the Hackers to the Yackers to the Short Shorts, and now he's a coach this year of our new team, the Stampede. He's made a couple NWA teams for the dirt ball roster, including last year when we went out to Pittsburgh, and he's been up to one hometown cup. So he's definitely got the wiffle ball itch. He's getting the league, getting all over the country and stuff. So like to have him on here today, get to know him a little bit for some of the people that may not know him, and see how he's liking the league so far and what we've been doing.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I've loved my experience here and long time listener, first time caller here on the pod, so looking forward to it.
Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully this podcast goes well. First time hosting Dirtyard Dish myself for me, so trying to get a few technical difficulties out. There's supposed to be one last week, but the upload never happened. I'll take partial blame for that, but I won't take all the blame because I'm still learning how to do it.
All good.
So first, kind of just get it started here. I don't even know this question myself, but how'd you get into CCW? How'd you find out about it, and what made you join the league?
Yeah, so 4 years ago, I guess, when I first started, it was kind of like I was a couple years out of college and getting the itch to play something besides slow pitch softball. And I had seen in the past like Dustin Dowden, the Dowden went to our high school, and so I've seen them post stuff there in this wiffle ball league. And so then just happened to randomly see one of like Dudas's video. I don't know if it was Twitter, Facebook, TikTok or something of like how to sign up and everything. So I went to your guys' website, signed up. I believe Dudas called me and was like, hey, we have this slow pitch tournament where you just show up and guys pick teams and come out to that. There'll be coaches, and then depending on how you do, like you might get picked up. And then that's when I believe, yeah, that's when Stark, who returned this year too, he added me to the Hackers roster, and I fell in love with it instantly.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's a good slow pitch is a good way to get out and just kind of show guys you can play a little bit and get on teams. It's kind of a light atmosphere, so that's a good way to get into them. Glad we got guys just signing up too as well, because I feel like a lot of it's word of mouth with how we get people in, but we don't usually see guys that like we don't know, I guess, know before the league coming in. So getting a guy like you coming in and stuff who's extremely successful already and coaching has been really, really awesome for the league. Try to get more people. So basing that off, I know you said like you've really enjoyed your 4 years here so far, CCW. Do you have like a favorite part of wiffle ball or like CCW as a whole so far that you could think of?
I mean, CCW as a whole, I think it's just the guys in the atmosphere that I think we created. I mean, a lot of us are ex-college baseball players, or if not, you've been kind of in that competitive spirit. And I think especially with the last couple of years of us doing like the free agency and everyone playing on different teams all the time, there's not a person out there that I don't enjoy seeing and would play with anybody out there. So, and then the national tournaments, traveling and meeting guys in other wiffle ball leagues, and it's always just a good time. That, like, especially Pittsburgh last year, we all got to go together, stay in hotels and hang out. It was awesome.
Yeah, the travel tournaments are always super fun. That's definitely a common answer I've noticed. Just the guys, we have a really great environment out at CCW, very friendly. Get some new faces in there every year. I think almost every team this year. I think we have 5 new rookies this year in the league again. So really good atmosphere for guys wanting to come out in CCW. We'll always try to get you on a team, even if you're from out of town for just a day. We can try to do it. So next thing is, talking about Cade here, kind of taking that step up. He's been a player the last 3 years, but this year is going to coach the new Stampede organization. So my first question is, how did the Stampede name come about, and kind of the background of that, and what made you go with that?
So the Stampede name kind of came, basically like the logo that we use, the logo that I saw, I don't know, a year or two probably before the Stampede franchise started. I really liked it. It was kind of like one of the like fan arts. They redid like a Colts logo. I thought it was cool.
Hmm.
So I knew I had to get a logo, and so I kind of remembered that, so I went and found it, and then I didn't want to go with a generic horse name like horses or Broncos or
Hmm.
something like that. So I was kind of just like looking around for different things and came across the Stampede and um, thought it was kind of different. Thought it was kind of fun. We come up with like different slogans. I think on our Twitter it says like there's a Stampede head for the Dirtyard. So um, just something different and not your typical like horse name team.
Yeah, it's definitely not. I don't think I'd ever seen the name like Stampede on anything before. The logo is super sweet, and then once you guys came up with the Stampede and entered into the league, I thought it was really nice addition. I like when people just call you guys the Pede so far.
Yeah.
That's been really funny.
Yeah,
Um,
it's like I don't know what to call like our players where it's like, you have like the moonshots, so like you're a moonshot or a yacker, you're a
yeah,
yak. So it's like we're kind of just
you're a Pede.
just a peed. You're just a peed.
Just
So
a Pede, just a Peter.
yep, exactly.
So now that you're the coach of the Stampede and the Peters, how do you feel like that's going to be? I know so far we're about 2 weeks here into slow pitch season, but obviously fast pitch season will be right around the corner. If you had any like thoughts or ideas on kind of coaching and what do you think that step will kind of look like for you?
Um, I don't know. I mean, it's definitely a little different. Just kind of like the strategic side of it, I guess.
Mm,
I kind of like, I mean, it was kind of a little different, like how we kind of got started or how kind of got into this role. Um, but I think the guys that I have on our team and thinking forward of what we're going to do in fast pitch as far as like the pitchers, I think we have a lot of pitching depth and how we're going to kind of do that. So it's just kind of the strategic side that's fun. I've coached different, baseball levels between like travel and high school, so it's obviously a little
mm.
bit different. But it's something I've always liked and excited to do, and kind of compete and know that I have a little bit more in how successful we are than in the past.
Yeah, I mean, as far as like from a coach standpoint, I think you'll have your work cut out for you a little bit because you guys are super deep this year. I think you're the only team that didn't take a rookie, but that was because you have, I think, six veteran guys on your team. I know at least three can throw significant innings throughout the year. All of them can swing the bat a little bit. So from a coaching standpoint, you'll definitely have to make some decisions, I'm sure, come playoff times for different things, but as long as guys are there during the year, hopefully that'll make it easy on you by their just like performance standpoint and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think so. And I think like when we were kind of recruiting the guys I have, I kind of laid out what my initial thought was. So hopefully like there won't be any surprises if
Hmm.
decisions are made or things like that. So
Yeah, I always think that's good. I tell people on my teams every year if you're there for a regular season game or something like you're gonna play, we're not there to sit you guys out during the season and stuff. But then once we hit playoff times, that's when I'm actually gonna like hit the best four, throw the guys that I think can get us the wins, stuff like that. Take it obviously a lot more serious, but regular
yeah,
season as a whole mainly just there for a good time and try to get as many guys out there as possible.
definitely.
So I know you talked about having a good time at like the national tournament where you traveled to Pittsburgh there. I'm just kind of getting your desires and thoughts on like representing more Circle City teams on like national stages and going to more national tournaments here like up in the future.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to go to as many as I can. I know scheduling sometimes always a little iffy. I know we have a lot of things coming up this summer, but
Mhm.
dates that I know, like this year's tournaments. Like I've had a really good time at NWA the two times I've been. Last year in Pittsburgh and then the first year when we were hosting here in Indy. Um, I would like to have a little bit better success. I don't think I've done fantastic at any of the ones I've gone to. Um, so I kind of want to, perform a little bit better on the national tournament side. I know like we've kind of in the way our structure of our season doing more cut ball this year, so I'm excited to kind of get more into that,
Hmm.
and then kind of see how that plays out. But from videos and seeing you guys go and kind of the continued success you guys have had, like each year, kind of improved upon the next. It's definitely something I would love to get into and spend more time doing.
Yeah, I mean, just speaking of like just couple, I'd love to see you keep swinging a couple. I mean, just from the few times we've had just like the league out there on days to try to just get together and test out new cuts and get guys used to it. You've been swinging it really well from the left side, which I think hitting from the left side, it's a wiffle ball wise going up against a lot of righties is a pretty big advantage. I feel like I know Kayvon from out east, cut ball wise, switches and goes lefty just because he felt like he can see the pitch better. So I think that's definitely one that like if Circle City can start trying to put together another UF team, that you'd definitely be one of the leaders heading out there for that one, purely knowing that you're going to hit the ball that whole weekend.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I think, and since we've started doing a little bit more, I think the hardest part is just adjusting to it moves a little bit different.
Hmm.
I know it's a little bit more truer, at least for pitchers, being able to control a little bit more. But like on the batter side, definitely moves a little different how it comes in. So trying to adjust from clean ball to cut ball as far as swings go. But I definitely think it'd be something that'd be fun. It'd be a good challenge, and I think if we stick with it, I could have at least some success in it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely a little trickier, just a little bit different swing, but I feel like same goes with like clean ball. Once you see it enough, you're just gonna get used to it, and you almost got to just kind of swing in spots and kind of make sure that the ball's there and stuff. I think cut ball that's even more prominent than clean ball because it is such a true movement. You can really pick those spots knowing where it's gonna be. Whereas sometimes with that clean ball, it might shake or wiggle a little bit, doesn't actually get into that spot that you think it's gonna get into.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, speaking of like getting into national tournaments and just kind of like elevating your game and stuff. Obviously you're one of the best hitters in Circle City already. Just kind of curious what like your next step is as far as like your game goes, if you're working on anything or hoping to kind of get better at anything here in the near future.
I'd say like near futures for this season, and that's kind of helped with how we've structured our slow pitch season is I guess just being a better fielder. This year I'm probably going to play the field more than I ever have.
Hmm.
The last 3 years I've really just shown up, hit the ball, and sat down and watched our pitchers pitch and fielders field, and I go up, rake, and call the day. So fielding will be a big one this year. Last year I pitched a little bit more just with the short situation pitching.
Hmm.
Um, I won't probably have to do a whole lot of that this year. I've never really been a pitcher at any level, baseball or anything. So I think if I ever had a pitch again, at least just being serviceable enough that I'm not walking everybody. But I think in the
Yeah.
near future, it's really just fielding and not making a ton of errors to, get our pitchers out of the innings and things like that.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about it because usually, I mean, last year you guys had Dudas and Dawson, and then on the Yackers, like Rudy usually fields pretty well, and then I can't
Yeah,
remember who you
Rudy and
probably had.
Jay.
Yeah, Jay, Mitch could even field then on that team if you needed him to. So yeah, I
Mhm.
mean, that's a good point. Slow pitch right now. There's so many balls in play on both fields that you're constantly getting fielding work in. So it's a good time to work on it to be ready for the fast pitch season.
Yeah, and especially like getting used to all those weird hops off the dirt yard, especially. I know we have that backfield now
Hmm.
where it's all grass, so it's not as tricky. But yeah, getting used to like kind of just seeing the ball come off probably a little hotter than some, just on a consistent basis with it being slow pitch instead of fast pitch.
Yeah, which will probably help us like coming into fast pitch, be having a little bit more time to react on some. I mean, the dirt yard definitely the ball just moves much quicker. That backfield, that the grass, even when it's cut, it's real nice, thick like grass to play on and stuff. So a lot of times the ball seems to die or kind of spin there that you got to kind of get to where it doesn't really get up to you in order to field, make the plays on that field, which is still a good thing to learn, kind of know where to position, how to get those balls.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely been tricky. So far, I don't think I've done too bad out there. Definitely helps having an extra fielder to back you up if you do make a mistake. But so far, so good, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, speaking of the extra fielder, I know we're 2 weeks here into our slow pitch season. So for some people that don't know, we've done our slow pitch different, a little bit different here than like a hometown cup or an Orbital slow pitch league. So we're going to talk about like a few of those differences here that we've been done and kind of our takes on what we're seeing. So like the first difference that we have that he mentioned is we do have three fielders behind the pitcher, which I think Orbital does that, but hometown you only have two. So we play the full like a full wiffle ball field, the 90 degrees, the three fielders, and we do a pitcher's hand, but we kept our circle from our fast pitch league. So the pitcher has to get to the circle. They can't just go wherever they want to field the ball. They have to get back into the circle. So just curious on what you feel like that has like how that has influenced maybe fielding or kind of the play here in the first couple weeks, knowing that that's kind of the situation the fielding is in.
I think it's kind of done it. Like I think it helps, like because you have more guys in the field, like you said. Like usually in our normal league, we only have two. So it gets more guys in the field. So more guys can kind of, see some of those hops or get used to being behind the pitcher. So if you get in a situation where you have guys that are short, or you don't have like everyone show up for a game, or someone has to play the field that might not play all the time, at least they should probably have at least experience in the field through the slow pitch season. Um, I like that we kept our circle because I think it'll keep it from getting confusing when we get later into our season, like with
Hmm.
fast pitch and things like that. Um, and I know we kind of talked earlier, but like when we get to hometown, it'd be kind of curious to see, if pitchers are used trying to stay in the circle or go, like, will that affect, or will we kind of have to rewire our thought process when we go to like hometown this year of, hey, we can actually move and go get the ball instead of
Hmm.
having to stay put.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about hometown if we make any like false moves because we're used to going back to a circle. I do think our league having the circle, it makes there a little bit more strategy and kind of communication on where you're going. Whereas like no circle, if it's not right to the pitcher, they're still following the ball. They can either grab it or it's kind of a flip up to them. Whereas depending on where the ball is, there's more communication about like pitcher fielders going to the balls and having to toss it back to somebody coming into the circle. I definitely think it's going to create like it will be a difference maker for a team like come in the playoffs or come at the end of the year where teams are like have good communication. They're fielding clean. They're not messing up, and I think that's going to be the difference here come playoff time for a team winning slow pitch season.
Yeah. And I mean, I like the circle too, because I feel like it makes it more of like a real feel. Whereas, if you just have straight pitcher's hand, if you hit a ground ball, it's not almost not worth like trying to run it out because the
Hmm.
pitcher just get to it, like you're going to be out. But putting a ball like in our field, like I mean, down the left field line, especially as a lefty, I mean that's almost a guaranteed hit because most people are going to play you to pull.
Hmm.
So it's not where it's like, oh, I'm just trying to beat the pitcher to the ball. Like you actually have to make a play, and it leaves room for some more, I guess, little league doubles or home runs. But it just kind of makes it a little bit more exciting and more, room for error.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely making teams work a little bit more. I think it's a good way that we set that rule. I also think part of it is with the communication. Whereas hometown, you have a guy usually throw the whole time. One thing that we're doing in our league, we kind of took from how Leroy does it. Your batting order is how you're going to pitch the slow pitch. So as of right now, like if you're hitting third in the order, you're going to throw the third inning. So that's been really cool to see as from my perspective so far is everybody getting on the mound and actually throwing and just trying their best to just get the ball to move a little bit slow pitch wise.
Yeah, and I like it too. I know originally, like, I don't know. I think I was one. I was like, let's just have a different pitching order or do something like that. But it definitely makes it easy to remember. And it is kind of, I mean, at least people get comfortable throwing the ball, and it's just slow pitch, so you're not worried about walking people a bunch. At
Yeah.
the very least, you can just lob it up there without any spin. But you can kind of definitely, there's definitely some innings, or you have like a guy that comes to pitch and maybe doesn't pitch consistently and isn't put a ton of spin. It's kind of your, okay, this is the inning we have to get some runs and
Hmm.
beat it from where someone like you or Whitty or Reed that has like kind of a pretty good slow pitch, um, try to take advantage when you can.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. That's a good point. I mean, we have some guys that literally have never pitched before, so they're coming up there and they're really definition and just lobbing it in there. So if your team's not capitalizing that inning on getting runs in the slow pitch, it may be real hard to win. And I do like the batting order because I do think it brings some sort of strategy aspect on like how you want to hit guys or different things. If you want to just load up the top of the order, if one of those guys can't pitch, like they're gonna have to throw twice probably. So I think that's a
Hmm.
good just mix of it, and it just makes the game more fun knowing that you're seeing a different pitcher every time and everybody's out there doing stuff. I think it's been a really good addition so far.
Yeah, I've liked it. It's been fun. So I think it was a good thing. I think it's fun to get everyone out there.
Yeah. And then like kind of going off of the pitchers, we do have a strike zone. So we're doing 5 balls is a double walk. So you automatically get to second. Still the 3 strikes. The strike zone's different compared to hometown, and I think it's had a really good influence for the hitters so far, is my take. How do you think it has been?
Yeah, I think it's been good. I mean, it definitely, you have like where hometown you can kind of just take until you get something really good to hit.
Hmm.
So it kind of makes you swing. I know that 5 ball, that double walk sounds intriguing, but I mean, watching that many pitches just kind of float by you is super difficult.
Hmm.
Even getting past the first pitch. I know I'm one that's like, okay, I'm up there. I'm just gonna swing it probably the first pitch or two, and no matter what. And then if you get two strikes on you, where if it's like hometown, you foul two off, you can kind of wait till you really get a good one. If you have two pitches, you're like, okay, I don't want this to float and hit the board, so you're swinging. And but yeah, I think it's been really good. I mean, we've had one week, which we'll get into here soon, but one week where we had a bunch of home runs and one week where not so many. So
Hmm.
I think it's been really good for the league. Kind of it keeps you ready to swing instead of just looking for one spot, and it kind of doesn't give the hitter as much of an advantage as maybe some other places.
Yeah, I think it definitely keeps the hitters on the toes. We're seeing them swing more often. I will say, I think it helps the hitters if you're having a guy up there that's actually waiting for good pitches on the board. Like if they're able to take a couple balls routinely, to making that pitcher actually have to throw it high enough, like up in the zone to actually hit the board. I think it's really advantageous for the hitter, and we're seeing a lot of good hits on that compared to like hometown where I can throw a knuckleball at hometown that stops right on home plate the entire time. I don't have to change it. If I do
Yeah,
that here in our league with the strike zone, that's a ball every time. The hitter can just lay it off. So if I want to throw a knuckle, I'm gonna have to get it up where it's more likely to float. It's more likely to just kind of hang up there where they're gonna hit the ball out more often. So I think
yeah, you
I
can't
think
just
it's been a good
wait
rule.
for
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, you can't just wait for the pitcher to get impatient and swing at something bad, and you just kind of because you're just going to keep giving them a double every time, and
Hmm.
especially if you have guys on, like, roll the dice and hopefully they hit a pop up or roll one over instead of hitting it out. But
Yeah, and from like the league, just so far, just slow pitch wise, games have been really close. I think there's really only been one or two like blowout games. So the games have been close. So pitchers are wanting to hit the board. They're wanting to make the team actually earn their runs and not just walk everybody and put everybody in play.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, we've had some really, especially this second week, we had a lot of really good games. I think we had
Hmm.
what, 30 walk-offs in the morning game. So
Yeah,
everything's been close. It's been super competitive. And I think it's going to be a really fun year in all forms of our season of, competitiveness.
yeah. And I think as far as just team wise, this year's one of the most like consistent like 1 through 6 teams, like how close everybody could win each game compared to we've tried to do it as best we could at the salaries last couple of years, but I feel like this year on paper it looks the best um competitive wise.
I agree.
Yeah. And then I know so Cade talked a little bit about kind of the weather and the home run. So our first week, opening week at Circle City was actually got up to like 80 degrees in April. Um There were 89 home runs, more home runs hit in week one than there was in week two, because week two, when we played, it was about 40 degrees. So we had a huge difference in weather from like week one to week two of our slow pitch league. So I think that's been a huge thing to see kind of how the ball is going to play when it's warm compared to when it's cold, kind of this slow pitch season and stuff. So that was something that we wanted to talk about how such a big difference it was from week one to week two for the players and all the teams.
Yeah, as your classic Indiana weather switch. Yeah, I mean, week one, balls were flying out everywhere. It felt like on both sides of the both fields. Every time you looked over, someone was hitting one out. I mean, 129 home runs in a single week between all teams.
Hmm.
I think someone said it in our group chat. That might be the peak.
Yeah.
People came out swinging. I feel like
Oh
that's a
yeah.
lot of runs for only 6 games.
Yeah, I mean, I think my moonshots team, I think we were the lowest scorers, and I think we averaged like 15 runs that day. We got swept. So, I
Yeah,
mean, it was
it
a
was
lot of
it was
runs.
crazy. Yeah, I think we had what I think a lot of people, almost every game, at least one team went into 20 runs or something. Both teams went to 20 runs in a couple games. And then week two, I think we only had maybe one or two games where a team reached double digits.
Hmm.
So it was quite the switch. It was definitely, I think people like week two, everyone came out like ready to start swinging it again. It might have been a little bit more frustrating of a day. But it's definitely kind of interesting to see how things can change so quickly.
Definitely. Yeah, and just for like running kind of I'll run through the recap of kind of the first week and the second week. The first week there were all sweeps. The 8 balls swept my moonshots. Cade Stampede swept the short shorts, and then Dylan Jones's Hounds team swept the Yackers. And then But just to speak of the competitiveness of the league, last week all three series were split 1-1. So my Moonshots faced Cade Stampede. We split 1-1. Both games were walk-offs. The Eight Balls and Hounds split 1-1, and then the Short Shorts and the Yackers split 1-1.
Yeah, so we have no one that is undefeated anymore, and we have no one that is winless.
Hmm.
So, and then I guess kind of like one game I think I wanted to highlight from week one, that I was watching actually announcing on our Twitch and TikTok was that Hounds Yackers series could have easily been a split
Hmm.
because the Hounds were down at one point like 16-3, and came all the way back to win that game. So,
Wow, I didn't even
I
realize
mean,
that.
yeah, those things can switch very quickly. Yeah, they were down 16-3, and came back to win. I think the final was like 30-25 or something. It was kind of on. It kind of goes back to, uh, the Hounds or the Yackers got deeper in their lineup of guys that maybe not don't pitch as much, where you have like Rudy and Aiden at the top pitching that have pitched a lot. And so it was kind of fun to see like how that all played out in that big comeback.
Yeah, that's a big comeback just in order to get that win there, knowing that they walked through that next game and the the Hounds right now are really doing really good and the Stampede and Eight Balls here are definitely I would say they are the three best slow pitch teams, and that's been shown right now as all of them are 2-1. So kind of going through that first 2 weeks, we've seen I think everybody's been out there at least once. Most people have been out there twice. Who have you seen that's been kind of a breakout star right now that you would talk about that is maybe not as expected or you think is a breakout that could keep this carrying over into the fast pitch season?
One that I kind of noted, and I mean it's a rookie, and I think it was kind of a rookie that everyone was kind of high on coming in, is Connor Smith on the
Hmm.
Yakkers. Looking at like his stats, so I was kind of looking through stuff. I mean, I think is second on the Yackers in home runs. He's got a really good swing. He's done really well in the slow pitch. So I'm really curious to see how it translates to fast pitch. I think he's played in different leagues before,
Hmm.
so he's kind of seen something similar. But I'm curious to see how his swing and how he does in our fast pitch league. And we know he can hit the slow pitch, so he's one that, I mean, as a rookie coming in, it's been kind of fun to watch. Um, and then the other kind of breakout was just the Eight Balls lineup in general.
Hmm.
Uh, I mean, the lineup, the top three, having Allis, Gerch, and Reed is one heck of a slow pitch lineup to start with. So
Yes, so
I think they'll,
dangerous.
I think they're going to be really with the 2 weeks, they're kind of the team to beat in this slow pitch series right now.
Hmm.
Uh, and I mean, and that's still a really good fast pitch hitting team just with those three guys. So I think the Eight Balls are going to be a strong team throughout.
Yeah, and unlike for people that know, the last year you with U17 Connor Smith that he just mentioned, rookie played on the rise. So he does have some good fast pitch experience, a little bit more MLW scuff and cut ball styles, but he's playing in Circle City this year. We're excited to get him into fast pitch, see how he throws it clean, but he's had a great start. I have two kind of breakout guys that I've talked about. The first one's on your team, Mitch Bias. So Mitch
Hmm.
has started off the first week with 9 home runs. Cooled down a little bit in the second week, but kind of everybody did. I think he's going to be a guy that when you add him into your lineup, he's already been a great pitcher in our league. He's came thrown on NWA rosters, shut teams out there. Extremely good pitcher. He's always been able to put the ball in play. But I think if he could kind of keep up maybe not 9 home runs a weekend, but if he keeps up some sort of a power surge in your lineup, that'll be extremely impressive. And would be great for you guys as a squad.
Yeah, we would love that.
Yeah.
Having him behind like me and Dawson, and I think if he can be that third bat, we'd be in a really good spot.
Yeah, that'd be a huge third bat. And then the other guy, the first week, Keegan Coy, one of the OG guys of the league, came out and hit 5 homers for the Hounds. I'm kind of pinning him as like a breakout guy. Not because he hasn't done it before, but I think he's going to be able to get out to the dirt yard more this year compared to years past, even into the summer fast pitch wise. And if he's swinging a good bat, he's the fourth hitter in that Hounds lineup. So that Hounds team, if Keegan's hot at number four, is going to have a great chance to go back to back for the fast pitch season. So I'm intrigued to see if he can keep kind of this breakout through kind of the whole year.
Yeah, I agree. He was my honorable mention. I had him listed as
Hmm.
well. Yeah, I mean, if he can swing it like that, that Hounds lineup, I mean, when you have Whitty on the mound, you're gonna win probably all those games. And then if
Hmm.
you have Whitty, DJ, Kobe, and Keegan all clicking at the plate, it might not matter who pitches game two because they're gonna put up runs.
Yeah, they're going to be extremely good. That's going to be a really good team through all assets of the year and just kind of going through that. Now that we're in slow pitch here, ask you to give a few predictions here on the slow pitch league. So the first one is going to be who do you think is going to lead the league in home runs? And then the second prediction, just kind of give me the two teams you think will meet in the championship and which team you think comes out on top.
All right. So, home run leader, I was kind of going back and forth with a few people. I did want to make sure to make a note that I think a lefty would win it if the scoreboard counted as a home run, because I think we're going to get some taken away from us. I know I have gotten two taken away from me already, so I wanted to make sure that was noted and that I think a lefty would have a better chance. But with that said, and just kind of looking at the leaderboard the last 2 weeks, going back to that eight balls lineup. Um, I love Gertch's swing for slow pitch.
Hmm.
He's always hit slow pitch well. And I think his teammate Ollis, I think those are going to be the two to kind of battle it out at the top. But I think if I had to pick one guy, I'm going to go with Ollis for leading the league this year in the slow pitch home runs.
Yeah, that's a good pick. Hollis and Gertz are both on my boards for that too. I'm going with Jones though for the Hounds. He hit so many out last week with the cold weather that I think on the hot weather he's going to be able to keep up enough to where I think he's going to carry that team throughout the year. So he's kind of my pick right now, but I think honestly between Hollis, Gertz, Jones, there's several guys you probably can't go wrong with it, especially this early in the year.
Yeah, DJ was definitely kind of at the top, but I didn't want to pick the guy that was at the top after 2 weeks.
Oh.
And I know DJ, I think he admittedly would say he's a better fast pitch hitter than slow pitch, so
Yeah,
see
I
if he
would
can
agree with
keep it
that.
up through the rest of the year.
Yeah. So give me your championship game and which team you think comes out on top for this slow pitch season.
So the championship game, I don't know. I think it's hard because, like we said, I mean, there's a lot of balance through the league.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, I think the top three teams that are kind of out to a start right now with my Stampede, the Eight Balls and Hounds, it's hard to go away from one of them. I think the Yaks can make a run. I mean, if you look, like they put up a lot of runs, a lot of home runs. They've just found themselves like unfortunate finishes.
Hmm.
But I'm gonna be a homer, and so I'm gonna have confidence in myself and my guys. I'm gonna put us in the eight balls in the final game. But like I said before, I love the eight ball slow pitch lineup, so I think I'm gonna say they might take us down in that championship.
Yeah, that's I have the same winner. I have the eight balls winning. I have them going up against the Hounds though. Purely just because I think if Keegan is there, I don't know how much the other two guys on their roster are going to be showing up this year. So I think they're going to have a little bit more of an advantage hitting just four. But I think I'm taking the eight balls over them in the championship because of their fielding. I think the eight balls has a very good fielding team. I know the Hounds have had some tough fielding innings already this year, so I think that makes it kind of tough for them for me to pick them in a three-game series over the eight balls for slow pitch purposes.
Yeah, I think that eight balls lineup is gonna cause problems in every phase that we have.
Yeah. Yeah, the eight balls line is going to be really good. They're fielding well, they pitch well, and they got even Stark at their number four right now. I think any their top four can hit home run anytime.
For sure.
So yeah, that'll be the conclusion here of our first episode of Dirt Yard Dish. I'd like to thank Cade here for coming on and being a special guest for the